I saw in the reading about that Steve Kern was a possible replacement for Bob had Bob not succeeded, and I'd have to qualify that statement if that was pre going to Japan with Freddie Blassie or post going to Japan with Freddie Blassie, because after Blassie went to Japan with those guys and he was on the tour, but Blassie was a big. He was one of the first cards in Japan. But I heard, well, from Blassie, because Blassie would come out, Dad, no, and Vince Jr. loved Blassie. He loved Blassie and he loved Jerry Graham Jr. So maybe that before the trip, Steve was considered as a replacement for Bob. If it was after a post Japan trip, I'm sure he was off. But anytime Fred would talk about him, it was in glowing terms, but all negative. So I was surprised. I was home watching, and he came on the TV as the alligator guy, Gator
Skinner.
And I was curious that he was up there because I knew how Blassie used to slam him all the time and just bury him. Vince would spend money, send camera crews and guys to film you and everything else just to bring you up to New York and sink your boat. They were, promoters would do that. They wouldn't hesitate, to spend, thousands of dollars. Eddie Graham, going back to Eddie Graham used to run a series of bookers through through the office on 106 North Albany. He had Johnny Valentine, failure. Buddy Rogers, failure. All the guys until it was Dusty or somebody else, all the guys all of his era that came in to run the territory as a booker and programming and feed their ideas. Eddie'd give them enough rope to hang themselves and to show that he would come out smelling like a rose. He would come out and he'd bring the territory back and what he was letting go. He'd send Dusty out for a while, and then when he had a good heel crew, he'd bring Dusty back in, and then they go, and the other booker would be standing there with egg on his face.
You'll have to explain to me. So why did Freddie Blassie really hate Steve Kern then? What was the friction between those two?
Guys ribbed the hell out of him. They ribbed. They took shit and they put it on the bottom of his doorknob to open the hotel door. When you open the knob, you get your hand. Well, shit, and everything else. Cutting is it was all. They went full bulldog on him. Full British bulldog. Fred Blassie was an old guy. He wasn't. He wasn't used to being ribbed, and he was. He was real. He was a god in Japan, and he was spoiled, and he was everything else. And these guys, from what I hear, I wasn't on the tour. From what I hear, they were merciless. And Blassie went on. God, shut up! Blassie could go off, and okay. So they quieted down, but they pranked him, and the crap on the doorknob and stuff like that. And not just not funny stuff, nasty stuff too. There are different things I'd heard,
but was it just because he was a bit full of himself? Was it the usual bring him down a notch?
I guess I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't on the tour. I just heard what the things that Freddie called them and what Freddie thought of them and so I would have to, whether it was pre or post Japan.